Hi, and as you know, we are the leading company involved in active research in trying to understand the St. Joseph statue tradition for selling houses. And we made a decision some time ago not just to study, um, I suppose, the past, but also to look towards innovation. And so I'm really excited to share with you a small piece of innovation that we think is absolutely amazing. So some of you may be familiar with the tapping solution, and this is quite a revolutionary and amazing technique that is really being promoted by the Ortners very, very successfully. And tapping essentially involves tapping on meridian or acupressure points so that the amygdala, which is that part of the brain that fires off anytime we're really stressed, learns to reprogram itself. And so by tapping, we provide calming signals for the amygdala. And so when we think of something, instead of firing off that horrible stress response and cortisol, in fact, we fire off a much calmer response. And tapping has been shown to be really effective in so many areas. And so we were really fascinated when one of our customers shared something with us. So when he was really stressed about not selling his house, in fact, it wasn't really his house, it was a house for a client, but he needed the commission. And so he used a St. Joseph statue and decided to tap at the same time. And he found that the house sold within 48 hours. Again, this was a house that was on the market for quite some time. So, of course, it's very difficult to separate the two interventions that he used. On the one hand, he used a St. Joseph statue, which we know works really well. And on the other hand, he added in, or he augmented the whole process with the tapping. And we think this is quite remarkable because, again, partly what we feel that the St. Joseph statue does, apart from its mystical, magical, inexplicable benefits where it actually sells the house, it also seems to allow people to relax because they have handed over this problem to St. Joseph. And some of you may be aware that the Pope was in the Philippines earlier this year, and he passed the same comment. He said that if he's very stressed about something, he writes it on a piece of paper and places it under a statue of St. Joseph, and he heads off to bed. And he trusts that St. Joseph will actually help him solve the problem. So the tapping, in fact, may have allowed this realtor, during the time that the St. Joseph statue was working, to begin to relax. And so I would really encourage you to look at this book, The Tapping Solution, or to look at some of the amazing free videos that the Ortners have done on YouTube, which explain the tapping solution. But essentially what it would involve would be a round of tapping on the meridian points where you focus on your incredible frustration that you've not sold this house and all the negative things that are a consequence of this. So, for example, you'd start on the karate chop point and you would basically say, even though I have not sold this house and I'm really frustrated and stressed, I love and accept myself. And you would say that 3 times. And then you would move to the eyebrow point and repeat something negative along the lines of, I really need to make this sale or I won't be able to feed my family. And then you would tap at the side of the eye. And equally, you would say something that, you feel, which is, no wonder this house won't sell because after all the plumbing is really bad. Then you would tap under the eye and say something else along the lines of, well, I can't believe that the other guy who's my competitor managed to sell a house. It just shows that life's unfair. Then you would tap under the nose. And again, you would say something about, well, the market's really bad. What do you expect? And then you would tap the chin, the crease of the chin, and say, well, on the other hand, I'm the only realtor not selling. This is just absolutely horrible. And then you would tap at the side of the breastbone and basically say something along the lines of, well, if I don't sell this house, A, I'm going to lose my job, and B, I'm not going to have money to feed my kids. And then you would tap under the arms at the side of the chest. And again, this makes a lot more sense if you actually maybe just watch at least one video on the tapping solution. I'm just giving you sort of some ideas here. So you would tap at the side of the chest and say something along the lines of, selling houses is just so stressful. And then you would do the top of the head, and you would tap the top of the head and say, I'm never going to sell this house. And you could repeat that round a number of times, expressing all the negative things that have been built up over the house. And then you would start at the eyebrow point and say, but maybe today is different. And then you would move to the side of the eye and say, the fact that my competitor sold a house, that kind of means that houses are beginning to move again. Then you would tap under the eye and say, okay, the great things about this house are the garden's kind of cute actually, which is something. And then you would tap under the nose and say, now that I've planted this St. Joseph statue, I know it's also going to help change my luck. Then you would tap in the chin and say, maybe this is the week I'm going to sell the house, and it's going to be so great when I can pay the kids' school fees. And then you would tap at the side of the chest, or like the breastbone point again, and you would say something like, actually the house is priced really well, which I think is going to really help someone, because it's a great bargain at the moment. And then you would tap at these underarms and you would say, it's really exciting because I finally feel this house is selling. And then you would tap the top of the head and say, this is really exciting and I know it's okay for me to feel safe. Now, that's a very quick run through tapping and nowhere near as nice as obviously as the ordiners do. However, it gives you the concept. And we love this idea of taking the St. Joseph statue, which is an age-old tradition that works really, really well, with another age-old tradition, which is the tapping solution, and bringing them together to help you A, sell the house, and B, deal with the stress that comes during that time while you're waiting to sell the house. Again, we wish you all the very best and would recommend this book, The Tapping Solution, which you can get on Amazon, or as I say, any of the free amazing resources that you can get on the tapping solution. Wishing you every blessing.